That
All
was
right,
worst one ever. It didn't even give me a countdown. We're on. So we're on.
Good.
There we go.
So we're back after only a year. We must have done 2 of these the last year, right? Because they made it 2 rounds.
Yeah, we did 2.
So if you haven't heard, the Cubs are in the playoff. Kind of. They're in the playoffs, but the playoffs aren't starting tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow is game 163 against the Brewers.
Which makes it sort of inexplicable that we're doing the podcast now without knowing what's going to happen.
Well, but why would we wait and know what's going on? What's the fun? What's the fun in that?
I can't even name the teams in the National League Central. I don't think this year.
The Expos.
Oh, good.
So what's the deal? The NL Central this year, the first time the Central has ever had 4 teams,
winning teams
that were 500 or better.
Yeah.
Wow.
That shows you just how terrible the National League was this year. That the Pirates were over 500.
Yeah, right.
And the Cardinals.
Yeah. Well, congrats to them on another inspiring 3rd place finish. They did it the right way, per usual.
I liked Len had a stat tonight during the game that was like, over the last 1,200 games the Cardinals have played, they've either been in playoff contention for all but like 3 of them, or some ridiculous number like that. And I just don't care.
Yeah, right.
That's cute. They haven't won a World Series since 2011.
Yep.
And the Cubs, have won one much more recently than that. So
people tend to forget about that.
I have to remind myself occasionally when I freak out about stupid shit that I actually did see them win a World Series, and I probably ought to calm down. It's not going to work.
That is pretty incredible, though, that, considering they haven't been in the playoffs for the last 3 years, that they have been in contention for all but the 3 games.
Yeah, because this was 2 years ago. It was the last day.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Last year it was whenever Leonis Martin knocked them out of the playoffs. That was like middle of the week, I think.
Yep.
And then it was yesterday. So,
well,
fuck them.
Absolutely.
I like that they hired their beady-eyed little manager when they were on a roll, and they played under 500 baseball the rest of the year. Team was so fired up that they hired their guy. They went, we don't have to play hard anymore. We got Goober here. He's going to be our manager. We don't have to work hard. That's great.
It's very possible that they're just bad, though, too.
Yeah, well, they got good when shockingly, they got rid of all their bad, old, expensive pitchers, brought a bunch of young guys up from Memphis, who then wore out, and they were bad at the end of the year. And nobody could understand how that worked. So anyway, the Cubs play the Brewers tomorrow because the fucking Brewers wouldn't lose for the last month.
Yeah.
God.
They didn't play anybody that was any good except for the Cubs. And Carl Jr. was busy handing those games to them. So that's why we are where we're at.
Well, and the fact that they couldn't just sneak one more away from the Cardinals. 2-1. And especially the way Hamels pitched.
Yeah.
Yesterday. That was frustrating. But Oh, Andy, that's what it was. We were talking before we went live about how I know you had tweeted out earlier, like, you can't really think of it as, they should have won this game, they should have won this game. Think about the games that they shouldn't have won recently.
They pulled a lot out of their ass this year.
They did.
And I even forgot some, like Jason Hayward's grand slam.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Len said at one point during the game.
That's right, because Len reads my Twitter,
right,
and then he talks about it on the air.
Yeah. Kind of like you, except people actually listen when he talks about your Twitter on air. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I feel like this team isn't that great, and we're gonna either get great Quintana tomorrow, or I shouldn't say whether they win 95 games, possibly
95.
Yeah, they fuck them. No, but you're right, Dylan. I mean, I think the National League's down, and I tweeted to you guys when we were getting this scheduled that I think the National League's just lining up to get curb stomped by the American League, but it is baseball, and you never
but the thing about it, the American League probably has at least the 4 best teams in baseball
for sure.
Red Sox, Yankees, Indians, and Astros in some order. But you only have to beat one of them if you're in the National League. You don't have to beat all 4 of them. Let them beat each other up.
Yeah.
But that's why this would be particularly frustrating if this is the year the Cubs flame out early, given that this is the weakest National League field they're going to face in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because for sure the Nationals are going to be back next year, right?
Well, not with Bryce playing center field for the Cubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Can they add him now? Can he play? Can he play tomorrow?
That'd be nice.
You could probably still make a waiver trade. The guy just wouldn't be eligible to play in the. Maybe that's why the Brewers won't announce their pitcher, because they picked up Max Scherzer, who didn't pitch today for the Nationals.
That's true.
He's just going to show up tomorrow and pitch one game against Cubs, and then he can't be on the roster the rest of the year. I'm reporting that's actually going to happen.
Good. That'll be a good way to lose that athletic gig.
They don't pay any attention to what I write anyway. So what do they know? I'm still in the payroll system somehow. They've forgotten to take me out of it. And once a month they're like, what? Just pay it. He makes nothing. He's a rounding error. Just send a check. He looks like he needs the money.
So we don't know who the Brewers have. We do know it's going to be
Jhoulys Chacin.
Yeah, well,
it's his turn. They don't have anybody else, but their needle-nosed little manager is, I'll really pull one over on the Cubs. They won't get any sleep tonight, wondering whether it's going to be Jhoulys Chacin or, I don't know, some White Sox bullpen reject that we've got, because they've got the entire 2015 White Sox bullpen in their bullpen. Yeah, really clever. Where did he go to college anyway?
Shut up.
Craig Counsell?
Yeah, he went to Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right. All those smart guys over there.
Yeah.
If he'd have gone to NIU, he'd have named a starting pitcher today.
Mm-hmm. So, and then we still don't really know who the Cubs are going to throw out there, because it's either going to be good Quintana or bad.
It's cute. Right,
that's right. We don't know which Quintana.
Well, Brewers Quintana with.
He's eating them alive.
I got it up here, 2.17 ERA over 37 innings this year, so that'll work.
He started against him 5 times.
Yeah,
he's 4-1, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sure they won't have figured him out by game 6.
Well,
but Jim Hickey fixed his. He's staying over the rubber longer, and it added 2 miles an hour to his fastball. Just shut up. There's nothing more overrated in the world than a pitching coach and a hitting coach. Well, we made this adjustment. Now this guy's the greatest pitcher ever. Yeah, because no other coach ever figured that shit out.
I was the pitching coach for the freshman baseball team when I was coaching, and I've never once pitched in my life. So you're absolutely right about that. The head coach would send me out there. I'd trot out to the kid, and I'd be like, throw a strike on this next pitch so I look brilliant. And then he'd throw a strike, and I'd feel good about myself.
It's just like the guy, all the fans bitching about Chili Davis. See? And Chili tells him how to hit home runs. Is that what he does? I'll bet he tells him that in the dugout. Guys, don't homer. It's selfish. Get on base for somebody behind you.
One thing. Oh,
somebody said, you know how many more home runs the Red Sox hit this year than last year? And it's Chili's fault. I say, how many home runs did JD Martinez hit?
Yeah, 40 out of that guy.
Was he in Boston last year? No. So shut up.
One thing I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this, because I loved. First of all, JD, I absolutely adore JD.
Yeah, he's the best.
On broadcast. He's so much. He's funny without trying. Whereas I felt like Brenly was always trying to be like folksy and annoying, and I could not stand Brenly. But
you know what I missed though? When people write in about they're getting married, nobody gives them any advice. How do they know what to do anymore? They don't know what to say. Yes, dear, you're right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Whatever. I'll wash the sheets. I don't even know what it was, but I'd miss it.
Ew. So the Contreras.
I wasn't going there with it.
Which was the first one since 2016, I think.
Mm-hmm. The one that it may have been a home run.
That's exactly
We're not sure. It looked like it may have just hit the basket and bounced back on the field.
Oh, it absolutely hit the and I loved how
Kyle, you were there. I'm sure
I was there. Yeah, I was all the way down the left field line in the corner in the 400 level.
Next to Al.
And yeah, I was looking right down at him the entire game.
So you had the perfect view of the home run.
I did, yeah.
So was it a home run? Here we go. We're breaking this news on the podcast. Well, I didn't. 23 live viewers. Think how lucky you are at home.
I thought it bounced off the back, but I mean, I saw it for a second initially, and then I didn't even realize what they were reviewing, and I went on Twitter, and it's like, oh, okay. But
they didn't review it, and then
right, yeah,
and
they were arguing.
They went and talked to the mousy little Cardinal manager, whatever his name is.
I don't know either.
Mike Schilt. That sounds right. And he threw as much of a fit as he can throw because they weren't going to look at it. But I guess he could have challenged and decided not to challenge it.
Yeah.
So we watched the same replay 100 times on TV, And after they decided not to review it, Len miraculously then says, "Oh no, you can see that it hits the scoreboard."
That's what I was going to ask you.
No, it's the same replay we've been looking at.
I know.
We can't tell what it.
Len's flip flop was hilarious, and there's absolutely no way it hit that scoreboard. It clearly hit the tape.
It's like the fourth ball that comes with this year that has magically hit the top of the basket and not gone over.
Yeah, well, and like who cares? And it didn't affect the outcome, obviously. But I just thought it was hysterical when after, like you said, after they weren't going to review it, that Len just decided that he's like, well, let's just play it this way then.
Oh, it's clear now. Oh, is it? So Kyle, you were there. How many rats did you see?
That was great.
Up in the 400 level up there, it was probably rats to Cardinals fans are probably about 1-1.
Yeah, right. How can you tell the difference?
Yeah, right.
Damn it.
So here's my guess. Rats are going to play an important part in tomorrow's game. Either one of them bites Ryan Braun and gets herpes and sues, or at some point, a ball rolling through the outfield grass will be stolen by a rat, and the umps will have to rule whether that's a double, what it is. I don't know, but we've seen way too much rat activity at Wrigley this month not to have it play a big part of tomorrow's game. So I'm very excited about that.
I agree.
Because I don't want to go on the internet and look up answers to these things. Why was everyone talking about a ball boy from yesterday's game? What the hell?
Oh, I was there yesterday too. There was I forget who was batting, but there was a sequence of it was 6 consecutive foul balls and the same bat boy kept running to get it, and the whole crowd, I don't know, whatever. Cubs fans are dumb. You cheer for the dumbest. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I've been on Twitter.
All right, so I'm getting some live Twitter feedback. We didn't introduce ourselves. There's people who don't know who we are.
Well, we haven't started the podcast yet.
Yeah, we haven't. Did I hit record? Oh, God. Are we on? So I'm Andy from Discipio.com. And guys.
Bad Kermit from HireJimMessian.com, which has been down for maybe 3 years now.
And I'm Kyle, and I stumbled across these guys solid 10 years ago and started tweeting at him, and here we are.
We ruined his childhood
10 years ago. Jesus.
We ruined his childhood and decided to finish it off with a podcast. So that's us. So
we're all the Cardinals manager.
Yeah, pretty much. Just anonymous.
Prove that we're not. Prove that we're not.
I was hoping they would hire Joe Girardi just because I think Joe's horribly overrated, and I would just love to see him flopped in St. Louis, but I guess we won't get to see that for a while.
He is probably the best candidate to announce dead pitchers before games.
No one has more experience with that than he does. It's on his resume as special skills.
I will miss Matheny though. I enjoyed.
I already did
his incompetence
because the Cardinals season would have over a month ago had they kept that.
Very true.
So whatever happened to Dexter Fowler?
Oh yeah,
I think he just kind of went away.
Then he broke his foot, right? But then he came off the deal, and they could put him in the Tyler Chatwood witness protection program and locked him in the dugout and won't let him out. We didn't even. There's no way he was there, because don't you think the TV cameras would have shown him in the dugout 1,000 times this weekend?
Yeah.
So I would guess Dexter's probably getting a new team next year, even if the Cardinals have to eat an exorbitant amount of that money. And I can't wait for all the Cub fans to hope it's us.
Oh my God.
Like, guys, you got the 2 best years of his life.
Of his career.
Don't push it.
He's
it worked
32.
out fine. Cub fans.
Did you hear the stat in today's game? I'm sure it was Rizzo. Maybe by it. The 3 guys that have played the most games. Well, I could just look this up, but Almora was the 3rd. That he's played 150 games. I was like,
I could see that, because even when he doesn't start,
all over the place. Yeah.
They put him out there so he can very slowly chase after fly balls in the late innings.
And when he doesn't start, we sure as hell hear about it on Twitter, don't we?
That kind of died down when he went.
It did, yeah.
But he's hot again. So is Hap. So look out.
Good.
Neither one of them are going to start tomorrow.
Probably not. Yeah.
I would guess we're getting today's lineup for basically as much of the playoffs as they play in.
Especially against a righty.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The difference would be Schwarber won't play against a lefty. Well, he didn't start the first 2 games of this series, and they were facing lefties.
Yeah.
Or righties.
Yeah. Yesterday, Saturday. Yeah, for sure. That was odd. My big question for tomorrow, I unfortunately won't be able to make it. Are we going to be doing writing the chalk on outside the left field and right field bleachers starting for the damn NL Central playoff tomorrow, or have we moved on? I have zero faith we've moved on from that, but is it starting tomorrow, I think is the question.
I'm going to go straight to the apartment buildings across the street and see all the writing on those.
I've been writing on the yards across the street with urine for decades, and I'll just keep that up. I'll be interested in the crowd tomorrow. How many of the I'm biased because Cap made a huge deal out of this in the post game, which I was watching for some reason. That he's Cub fans better get on the phone and get those tickets. We don't want all these Brewer fans coming out getting our tickets. Somebody needs to break it to Cap that there's like 40 Brewer fans, and even if they all get a ticket, they'll all sit in one little section. It'll be fine. But my memory of '98 was how much different the crowd was, because it sounded different. It behaved different because it was first come, first serve. Like I don't know how many tickets they'll hold back for like corporate use. If they don't do any of that, then you may get a particularly nutty crowd tomorrow, which could be kind of fun.
So, and again, this is another thing that I didn't bother looking up. Didn't the Brewers limit their ticket sales to only Wisconsin? And I'm sure Illinois does. The Cubs realize that the fans are actually going to show up, so they don't need to do that.
Right.
They did that, and they had far less fans at those early Cub Brewer games than they used to. And why would you turn down money? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. They turned into the Nashville Predators, and they deserved it.
So Andy, you guys both going to be able to watch this live?
I don't know.
Well, I'll be at work, and of course, I won't be able to do that because I'll be working.
Exactly.
Although my lunch might get kind of long.
Yeah, it could be a 3.5 hour lunch tomorrow.
Good.
I'll be able to monitor it.
Kyle, did you try and get tickets at all?
I didn't. It just wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to go. So I took a peek. I was looking on StubHub, and the section I was in today, I got in for $30 today, and it's going for $120 tomorrow. So
it's not that bad.
For essentially a playoff game. I guess.
It's a regular season game.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
But this is a perfect opportunity for someone to sit in Al Yellen's seat.
Oh my God!
Because the normal rules don't apply. Now, I'm sure Al can ooze his way into the stadium early, but if he doesn't, somebody needs to sit there so that sociopath has to sit somewhere else.
That would be the best. That'd be the best. How early would you have to get there to beat him to that spot?
You'd need to be there now.
Yeah.
If you're not in the seat, sleeping overnight, Al will get it somehow.
Don't you think he is the type of lunatic that would actually ask you to move too?
Yes.
100%.
Of course he would. And he'd give you the whole, he'd pull out the spreadsheet. Like, look, now
I'm wearing the right hat.
There are 104 and 102 when I wear this hat. But I haven't changed my underwear in a week. And if I sit here over their career, well, their record is terrible over the amount of time I've been sitting here because they were awful for a long time. I don't know if you knew that. The Cubs didn't used to be good. But now they are. And I really need to sit here. And I have an irritable bowel. And I shit in that spot last night. So you don't want to sit there anyway. And I'd say, you know what? I don't mind. I like it. It's warm. I'm going to sit here. I like the spot.
So, just only because you mentioned Cap and for some reason you were watching the post game, I would assume anytime I would watch, I feel like DeJesus's teeth are going to fall out anytime he's talking.
I finally realized something today while watching it because Cap had to read like a 30-second thing about the tickets, and they did a 2-shot, and DeJesus knew he was on. And yes, he doesn't. It's so unnatural. And when I stop talking, the camera will switch away from me. But he can't just like sit there like a normal person for a minute. He must know that his weird little teeth stick out. So he looked like he was holding his breath for 30 seconds, like he was testing himself. I wonder if I can hold my breath the whole time Cap talks.
I thought
He was doing one of the two. I don't know what it was. But he's been on the air for 2 full years now, and he's just as uncomfortable as he used to be.
He's so bad.
And then the worst thing they do for him is what they'll do the whole playoffs. They sit Doug Glanville next to him.
Right.
And there's Doug who's perfectly comfortable.
Right.
And he knows what he's talking about.
Very smart.
And he makes DeJesus look like, even more of a deer in the headlights than normal.
Yeah, I really hope that the idea is that they're just grooming Glanville for his role.
Here's what I thought would happen. I thought during the season, first it would be like Cap, and then DeJesus, and then Glanville, and then the next day Glanville will be just a little bit closer, and then the next a little bit closer, and then they switch spots, and then all of a sudden DeJesus is not quite on camera anymore, and then they just turn his microphone off, and he
route. They just keep moving him out.
Just keep moving left.
Scooch over.
Yeah. But I don't know how the Cubs have won any games this year, guys. Cap is not fisting anybody afterwards.
Not that you know of.
Right, that we know.
Have we gotten a recent Cap shower
video?
Tweet? Oh God!
Why?
We'll probably get one tomorrow.
Why
for the game.
Of fuck does he think that's a good idea?
They're so disturbing. It's just, and how did the first one happen? That's what I don't get.
Don't know.
I'm all lathered up. You know what? This would be a great time to send somebody a message about something. Here's my camera.
Well, and I will give Cap credit. He is the Ryan Seacrest of Chicago sports. I mean, he is the hardest working guy in Chicago sports, I'm sure. Not quality of work, but he works a lot. But he found a way to incorporate. He'll have a toothbrushing one at some point. He'll be taking a shit at some point. He'll be tweeting out.
It'll be him and the Charmin bear. Will be and it's only going to get when CubNet starts in 2 years.
Oh God,
it's going to be more Cap because
how can it be more Cap? He's on every time I turn on my TV.
Yeah, but they don't show 24/7 Cub stuff on there. And the CubNet, that's all they're going to show. It's going to be Dave Kaplan. He's going to be hosting their version of Good Morning America. And then he's going to be on I guarantee he's going to be on The Score because Jimmy DeCastro is there. They'll boot hopefully McNeil and what's his hole, the other guy. The guy who won Star Search to get on there. He'll be on there, and they'll simulcast that. It's going to be all Cap all the time.
Now that I'm thinking of this CubNet thing, are they going to postpone? When was that Sammy Sosa special supposed to air tomorrow? Is that going to interfere with the game? I hope if they have
the game's at noon.
Yeah, but wasn't that thing supposed to be around then? I don't know. I hope if they have a choice, though, they decide to air the Sammy Sosa special instead of the
game.
Game's 163.
Yeah. Due to contractual obligations, we will not be showing the game. Well, they're not showing the game anyway. ESPN is.
Oh yeah, that's right. So actually, maybe they will be still showing.
I don't know who it is. Oh, it's going to be. I'll bet we're going to get Rick Sutcliffe.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be hard for him to get completely croissant by noon, but I'm sure Rick's up to it.
It's very.
He'll just stay. He's already there. He just has to maintain until noon.
Yeah.
I like him. He seems like he was like the nicest guy. But he adds nothing when he's on. Nothing. He actually takes things away. He doesn't add anything. He makes you dumber while you're watching him. But he's doing it. He's friendly, and you don't even seem to mind.
Yeah.
And then, if they're in the wild card game, then you must get. No, I would guess we get A-Rod and Jessica Mendoza and.
Yeah.
What's his name?
So
Van Excursion. I bet we get them because they already have to be either Milwaukee or Chicago for Tuesday. They might as well do the game tomorrow.
I bet everyone tunes in to try and watch us predict who we think the.
Oh, I know they do. They're taking notes. So that is a thinker. I'm going to write this one down. See if he's right tomorrow.
Oh man,
could happen. I don't know.
Well, that'll be exciting.
All right. So what do we want to happen?
We want
them because I think the guys need a couple of days off.
Absolutely.
Baseball, it's arduous to play. It's for a baseball player to have to play a baseball game once a day. That's ridiculous. So they really need to win to get those days off, I would think.
They will have played.
They may start falling asleep during the game on Tuesday. They're exhausted from playing all that baseball. I don't have much sympathy for them playing because that's what they do. But I do understand that it sucks to not have a day off.
That is pretty
and
grueling.
For pitchers to have to get ready, bullpen guys have to get ready every day. I mean, I know there's a toil to that. I felt like it got hammered into us every day about just how tough this was, and not by the players. I didn't hear any of the players ever bitch.
Right.
But I got sick of it.
But like, I don't know. When's the last time whatever it was, 30, whatever the hell number of days it was. When's the last time? Have you ever worked that many days in a row actually at your job? Well,
there's only one thing I've ever done that many days in a row.
Okay, we were all 14 one day. I agree with you. Like it looks from our perspective. Oh, they're going out and playing a game and all that stuff. But those guys work 8 hours. They're at the park and they're traveling and they're doing. And it is. I fucking love Ben Zobrist. But then I think Kelly Kroll was talking about having interviewed him, and he's like, we get that, like you're gonna be put in these stressful situations all the time, and like they basically have had nothing but stressful games for quite a while, and like I know when my job gets stressful, even when you're 3 days in a row, if it's stressful every day, feels like a week in a row, and I don't know. Maybe I'm making excuses for them, but you're right. I'm not making excuses for them because they haven't specifically bitched, but I'm sure they're thinking about it and it's weighing on them in the locker room. I don't know. Maybe Cap.
I understand.
Out a video.
I do think though, where fans don't understand that players don't take losses as hard as fans do.
Absolutely.
Because they can't. Because you go insane.
Oh, you would, yes.
And the thing I get most tired of, and it was happening early in the game today, I made a joke about it because when Hayward just ran past the ball in center field, I wrote tough break Milwaukee. The Cubs just want it more. But some fans really think that's true. Like they don't care. Look, they're not playing hard. When you don't hit, it's impossible to look like you're playing hard.
Right.
Because all you're doing is batting and going and sitting down.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're not trying. It doesn't mean you don't want to, but it sucks the life out of, your half of the game when nothing's happening. And fans get all, no, they don't care. They don't even want to win. So there's a sliding scale. They don't care as intensely as we do because they live it every day and they have some control over it. Part of the reason why fans freak out about stuff is that all we can do is sit and watch it.
Mm.
If a player makes an error, he's pissed, but he's got the rest of the game to make up for it.
Yeah.
All we do is sit there and go, ooh.
What blows sports fans in general are just fucking idiots.
They're the worst.
What blows my mind is even if you thought they didn't care about the outcome of the game or winning a World Series or blah, 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 those guys all know that they make a lot of money if they're really good at this game. And don't you think that they would be motivated by that? If nothing else.
And then people are like, well, he got a lot of money. He doesn't play hard anymore.
No.
You know what happens when you make a lot of money? You want to make more.
Exactly.
So
you develop a certain sort of lifestyle.
Now, I mean, every once in a while, there's a Mo Vaughn who signs the big contract, gains 40 pounds. And my favorite Mo Vaughn story ever was remember the clubhouse guy from the Mets, Kurt Radomski, wrote a book about steroid use?
Oh, yeah, I totally remember the clubhouse guy from the Mets.
No, well, I mean, you might remember the story. So Mo tested positive for steroids. And Radomski knew what happened. Mo would take the steroids, but then not work out.
I don't remember from ever having read that book.
So he would take the steroids and then be too lazy to actually exercise to make the steroids do anything. It's my favorite steroid thing ever.
I don't remember that from the book or reading the book. I remember from the 7 or 8 times you've told that on this podcast.
This is 9 now. Got any other old ones you'd like me to? I can play all the hits.
No, tweet them out and then tell me about your tweet. But yeah, I don't know. Fans are very stupid.
On the note of the Cubs fans, like I feel like this year has been even like over, like even by Cubs fan standards, like over the top, just and then like a couple months ago, it like divided off into there's like a new segment of Cubs Twitter that just bitches about Cubs Twitter, while the rest of Cubs Twitter bitches about the team. I don't know.
I bitch about Cubs Twitter today because
so am I in both? Because I do both.
Yeah, me too. But when the Cubs were up 5 and the Brewers were up 5, everyone's like, "Well, it's over." Like and then of course they're biting their nails about the Cardinals, And when I tweeted that, of course, a couple people responded to me. They're like, "Well, the Tigers are a way worse." I'm like, "You're just making my point. Like you're just histrionic and silly and dumb. And it's baseball. Like it's gonna be.
And,
you never fucking know."
They get so caught up in the trends. Like,
yeah.
Oh, the Brewers have won 17 of the last 23 games. Well, you know what? The Cubs and Brewers have both won 95 of their last 162 games.
Yep.
And that's, and people are like, well, the Brewers, they got to play the Tigers. I seem to remember a few weeks ago, the Cubs got to play the Tigers.
Yeah.
And they only beat them twice.
Yep.
And they are tied now, where if they had beaten them 3 times, like the Brewers did, they would have won the division today. So,
and the other thing is, like, I don't know if they truly are the best team. Well, it's baseball. It sometimes doesn't even matter, but you have to fucking beat good teams anyhow. So like, yeah, it sucks. It does suck that it's long stretch. It does suck that there's another non-day off. And I was going to ask you guys this because I think probably the month of September clinched the MVP for Yelich.
Yeah.
But I do think if the Cubs had ended up burying the Brewers, Javi would have had a much better case. And because, like, no one really considers defense. And obviously, Baez is otherworldly at defense. And although I was very disappointed that he wasn't able to somehow slide around when he got thrown out at the plate from right in the second or third, I thought there would be another magical Baez slide moment. But yeah, like, I think that probably cinched this outcome. Not that MVPs matter that much, other than guys getting paid more, but I think that probably sealed his fate.
Well, I really wonder. I mean, I know it's this is too Bill Simmons of me, but
oh boy. Are you gonna compare Baez to the Celtics right now?
Who's better, Kevin McHale in 1987 or Javi Baez? No. How many? I know most of the voters are gonna vote for Yelich because he had a great finish to the season. If he goes crazy tomorrow, he wins the fucking Triple Crown. I mean, all that stuff. But how many teams would trade Christian Yelich for Javi Baez?
Yeah,
because Javi plays a more valuable position and he plays it amazingly well. He's the best defensive second baseman in baseball. And shortstop is probably his better position. Mm-hmm. And now, thanks that we'll never see Addison Russell again, he's going to be the Cub shortstop now. He's younger. I mean, 9 teams out of 10 would take him over Yelich, but Yelich is going to win the MVP. So really, which one of them is more valuable? That's why the most valuable player is the most misnamed.
Yeah.
Yelich was the best player in the National League this year. That's why he's going to win the award.
Right.
He doesn't have more value than Javi. Javi has more value than he does.
For sure. That's true.
So vote Javi. Go by what the award's named. Media. Bastards.
So where are we at predictions? What's going to happen tomorrow?
Well, the Brewers have won 7 in a row.
So this will
by my math, more 7-game winning streaks turn into 1-game losing streaks than they do 8-game winning streaks.
Very true. That's irrefutable.
And I think the Cubs will win. I think home field has some value to them. I think they have the perfect pitching. But they just have to get a lead, because if they get behind and then fucking Hader comes in, if I'm Counsell, I would pitch him until his arm fell off tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But if you get a lead early, they bring Hader, and all he can do is try to keep the deficit where it is.
Yeah.
The only, under the caveat that there's no good matchup for Hader, I am encouraged by, obviously Rizzo's had success against him, and I don't know the Javi's numbers against him off the top of my head, but like lefty that throws pretty much just a straight fastball, that's not the worst matchup for Javi to just swing out of his ass and fall over and try to run into one.
The Cubs are one of the few teams actually scored off him this year.
Yeah.
And they did it, I think, at least 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, big deal, 3 times. Well, it's 3 times more than everybody else. Let's see if Baseball Reference fixed its stupid splits. They were broken when I was trying to write my column. But, they're still broken. But he has an actual ERA against the Cubs, which he doesn't against a lot of teams.
Right.
Although the last time he pitched against him, he just struck everybody out.
Yeah.
So just get a lead. But I really feel like he's the only guy in that bullpen who's like that. I know Jeffress has good numbers, but he's Jeremy Jeffress. They've hit him before. They'll hit him again. And Knebel is not the Corey Knebel from last year, and Joakim Soria sucks. And then the rest of those guys are really former White Sox bullpen guys, like Xavier Cedeno and Dan Jennings. They're not really very good. They have one awesome guy who can go 2 innings, and that screws you up if you fall behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can either get ahead or weather that and stay tied, you beat them.
So they win. They don't have to play a wild card game. And then who do you want to see?
Well, so it's either going to be the Rockies, the Dodgers, or the Brewers.
Right.
I don't want the Dodgers.
I agree.
I would like to avoid that
100%
at all costs, because I think they are the best team in the National League. They fucked around as much this season as the Cubs did.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 best teams. So I have a hunch
probably.
It's going to be the wild card game is going to be the Cubs, the Dodgers.
That'd be hilarious.
And so the rematch of the last 2 NLCSs will happen in one game.
Yeah, right. At
Wrigley. And the winner of that may very well win the pennant. But the other one just goes home after one pathetic playoff game. I think a 5-game series, going to Colorado is a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just because of that playing on the moon base that they play on.
Huge outfield.
And I would rather actually play the Brewers, though it won't happen, in a 7-game series, because I don't think they can beat the Cubs 4 times, but they don't.
I'd agree with that.
They don't have to beat them 3 times. But it might be advantageous for the Cubs to only have to beat the Dodgers once, because that might be all they can do. They one more time and they beat them last year.
It would be more.
No, they beat them once last year. It's the same.
It would be more advantageous if someone else beat the Dodgers for them.
Yeah, that would be optimal. So let's do that.
Okay. Did they even announce their matchups for tomorrow?
I thought
it's Walker Buehler and Marquez or whatever, the guy who struck everybody out in his last start. He struck out the first 8. He tied Jim Deshaies. He struck out the first 8 batters. And then if you get the wild card game, the one Rocky you don't want to face is Kyle Friedland.
Yep.
And he'll be on short rest if they pitch him. He'll be on 3 days rest. The Cubs have Lester ready if they get to the wild card game. It won't be Kershaw if it's the Dodgers.
Right.
It'd either be Rich Hill or Ross Stripling.
God damn it. I would hate to see Rich Hill in a wild card game. That would be
the
most infuriating.
Just because if you lose to him, you have to live with that.
Right. Yeah, forever. That would be just infuriating.
But I would love to see him reenact the
throw fucking
2007.
Oh yeah.
Yes, where he hyperventilates and looks like he's going to pass out on the mound at Wrigley. Why are they swinging at my first pitch? Well, maybe don't throw a strike. Like how many innings before we make that adjustment? Kind of like, when is Joe going to figure out that if you really absolutely positively have to use Carl, don't bring him in with guys on base, because he's going to put a few on anyway. Let him get out of his own jam. I don't get it. And he said it again in the press. I was throwing things at the TV because Joe's like, well, I had to bring Carl in because if we're going to do anything, we got to get him right. It's too late.
Yeah.
Right.
He's wrong. Don't use him. You can get him right for next year. Why don't we just write this one off? You're honest to God, you're better off with Brandon Kinsler, who sucks, but at least he throws the ball somewhere near the catcher, which helps.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Joe quote that Jesse tweeted out right after the game? Madden regarding tomorrow, quote, "You're really managing 2 games at once." And that scares the hell out of me because I don't know what the hell that means.
One kind of overwhelms him from time to time.
Right.
I get what he's saying.
How about you just win? If you don't, well, actually, I guess I was about to attack him, but he's kind of right.
Yeah.
Because this is not a win or go home.
Right.
Right.
You can completely fuck up Tuesday's game on Monday. And if you lose Tuesday's game, you're done.
Right.
So exactly. I guess he's kind of right.
So if they got down huge early on.
Yeah, you gotta punt it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I get it. I mean, I get what he's saying.
Get more Alan Webster.
How about what they do is put up 15 in the first 2 or 3 innings?
Yeah. How about this? Why doesn't everybody in the first inning just hit a home run?
That might work.
9 should do it.
Get up 9-0 and then see if you can hold on to that. How many pitchers would he use in a 9-0 game? 17. Yeah. We'd end up with Rizzo trying to get the final out.
Well, Lennon and JD pointed out a good point in today's game. This obviously is not a playoff game, so you still got expanded rosters.
Right.
You can burn through all those extra guys that you're not putting on the playoff roster, fortunately. Although there's a reason they're not getting put on the playoff roster. So ideally they get up huge early, and then they can just throw out whoever the fuck, Webster, whoever the fuck is not going to make the playoff roster.
So I guess they're punting it if Tyler Chatwood comes running out of the bullpen for the first time since I don't know when. How about this stat? He's thrown 2 innings since like August 12th, and he led the National League in walks.
I mean, that's just
nobody could catch it. He put 95 walks out there, and nobody could catch it.
I got it. Yeah, 95 walks and 103 2/3.
Well, it's nice that the Cubs ran away with some statistic this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Javi will lead the league in RBI unless.
Yeah.
And he should add 6 or 7 more tomorrow
just
to make sure.
Yeah, for good measure.
It was just, and yesterday was particularly frustrating to me because from at least what you read, the Cubs were looking at 2 low-cost guys for the rotation, and then they were going to try to sign somebody expensive. And the 2 low-cost guys were Tyler Chatwood and Miles Mikolas, who signed for nothing with the Cardinals. So they clearly picked Chatwood over him, because if they'd offered Chatwood's contract to Miles, he would have taken it, and they would have him. And he went 18-4.
Yeah.
But, spin rate.
Yeah. Spin rate. Exactly. Yeah.
Spin rate never lies. Even though the pitch is spinning really hard when it bores itself into the grass in front of home plate. It's like when a lot of people are freaked out right now. There's general manager openings are coming up, and Jason McLeod is one of the guys. And I'm like, oh no, how could we lose him? The guy who has managed to draft exactly 0 pitchers over the last 5 years. Maybe we need a different voice.
I'll put us on a happier note. I was just browsing the Cubs subreddit, and someone put out asked the question if Lester is the best free agent signing in Cub history. I'll put that to you guys.
In my lifetime, yes.
Well, you're like 14. Well, actually,
better than Jason Hayward.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
He gave the speech. I know Lester managed to get some outs in that game on 1 day's rest, but Hayward gave a speech, which I think was much more valuable.
Well, okay.
I think it's him, and I think it's him by a lot. With the caveat that they got him in an earlier part of his career than they got Andre Dawson.
Yeah, because that was
and while Dawson was awesome as his nickname in 1987, his knees were falling off during that season, and a mere 2 years later, when they really needed him in the playoffs, he just couldn't.
He did nothing. Yeah.
So for a short-term thing, for one season part of that, Dawson wins it hands down. He hit 47 home runs or 49 home runs and all that stuff. But Lester, he's at the point of his contract where he's supposed to not be worth it anymore.
Right.
And he still is.
Yeah, I know.
So that's pretty amazing. And he's learned how to hit.
Yeah.
Some days he's like the 5th best hitter in the lineup, which is
hopefully not. Well, I guess it wouldn't.
Hopefully not Tuesday. He's not the 5th best hitter. Or Thursday. Could be Thursday.
Yeah.
I think it's Tuesday.
Oh boy.
Oh, I don't, because I picked the Cubs. Why would I go against that?
Another thing they pointed out in the broadcast, if the MLB hadn't forced the Cubs to go back and finish that.
That was another one of mine that Len picked up almost right after I tweeted it. Yes.
That all this would have gotten pushed.
Well, that was the whole reason they were doing it to the Cubs was you could see that there was at least a possibility that they were going to be a half game up or down on the Brewers if they didn't make it up.
Right.
So now they'd be having to go to DC tomorrow
and win.
Yes, and win. Although I'm feeling the Nationals probably not trying real hard. They didn't really try very hard this weekend, and they still had games to play. Although they did win yesterday, I guess. But then, when do you make now the wild card game is supposed to be Tuesday,
right?
But that would be the day they'd have to play the Brewers.
63, yeah.
So that's why baseball did it. They're like, no, tough shit. You guys, if the Cubs record had been like what the Red Sox was, they would have went.
They wouldn't have cared. Yeah.
We're not making that up,
right?
But by then, they were starting to leak a little oil, and baseball's like, you get better play this damn thing.
Yeah.
Now, the part that didn't make any sense to me was why they made them do it in Washington. Because
Right.
they were lucky.
Yeah, true.
They were lucky that game didn't get rained out because the hurricane just happened to take a different course.
True.
So them playing the game, that made sense. And if interim commissioner for Life Bud Selig had still been around, they'd have played that game at Miller Park.
Yeah, and
Because
they
old
could've
Bud
brought
would have
them-
liked an extra gate
They could have
for
brought
his
Zembranic,
daughter.
and he could have thrown a no hitter.
Yeah, Carlos would come back. Yep. And we could have heard the stories about how the power was out in Houston and Lance Berkman had to carry his suitcase down 40 flights of stairs, or it was. He was just too exhausted to swing the bat. And it's like, yeah, fuck off. I love it when baseball players complain about their travel. That's my favorite thing. Because they travel just like we do. But that's fine. All right. Do we have anything else?
Of course not.
We wrap this up in a tidy. I don't have the timer, but we're too long again. We always are. That's fun.
So the plan when the Cubs. Well, we're all saying Cubs tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was one of us ever
absolutely.
going to come on this podcast and pick somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what? I really like the cut of the Rockies jib.
Okay, and so then are we going to preview a division series?
Well, good.
Okay.
Sure, why
We
not?
could do that Wednesday if we're available. I am.
Yep.
I got nothing going on. I'm a pathetic married man. It's all of my evenings free.
Okay.
All right. So go Cubs.
Have fun watching the game, everyone.
Tomorrow's a weird feeling because it's an important game, but it's not. It feels like it's a win or go home, but it's not.
No.
Right.
It feels like
right.
losing would be very, very bad. But if you win Tuesday, other than losing home field and having to play one extra day, you didn't really lose anything. And you know damn well the Brewers want to win that division championship because they want to put a frickin' pennant up on the wall of that ridiculous park of theirs.
Yeah.
But they've already had the Cubs have not partied yet. I feel so bad for
Right.
them.
I know.
They haven't sprayed champagne on anybody. And they drank some weird honey Crown Royal the other day. That was the shot that Ricketts had them all do. There must be a sponsor. Ugh.
I've not had that, but I've seen that. That seems like a gross combination.
And they did it after the game. They should have done it before a game.
I
Maybe they should do it
agree.
tomorrow. That should be isn't that what the Kevin Millar Red Sox did? They started doing
Oh,
shots
God.
before all the games.
Jesus Christ.
Yeehaw!
Cowboy up.
If people ever get irritated by, like Rizzo or Hobby, they're no Kevin Millar.
No, just
Right.
remember.
Just remember that. Appreciate the fact that they're not him. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on. And
Thank you guys for
Thanks, guys.
tomorrow will be interesting.
on short notice.
Then hopefully they win tomorrow and we do another one of these on Wednesday and we don't have to worry about this stupid wild card game, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Oh, boy. All right, guys.
All right.
Go Cubs.
Good night. Go Cubs.
See you later.